Alright, so, hello everyone. My name is Kayumon, and today I will be presenting Tomb Raider, the Angel of Darkness. I'm not alone here, I'm here together with...
Dragon.
And Tech.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, basically we're going to present the Better Than Glitchless category today. I'm going to explain really quick what it is, because the beginning is pretty intense, so we don't have the time to explain it there. Basically, Better Than Glitchless is an any percent category extension, but it bans 3 techniques, which are trigger bugs, where you can basically trigger the level end really early, then crouch savings, where you save and crouch right in front of a wall, and this will put you through, or make you clip through. And also moon jumping, that is also abused by quite a lot. So these 3 techniques we can't use, but we're gonna use some other techniques as a result of that. And as a result of that, this category is also called Better Than Glitchless, or that's the reason why it's called Better Than Glitchless. Okay, I would be ready to start a new game, so the timer will start as soon as we hit the new game button. And Reese, Dragon, I'm really hoping that you can start with the explanation, because the start is intense in this game. Alright.
I wonder who came up with that interesting category name.
Oh yeah, it's a Tomb Raider history. But yeah, so to the staff, I would be ready, so let me know when we can start the timer.
Oh yeah, timer starts when, like, basically as soon as the fade out is over, as soon as we see Lara.
Ah, okay. Right. I've just received the message, but I can't switch out of the game, otherwise it's gonna crash. So, I guess we're just gonna start then. And I would say, let's do with the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go! Let's go!
Alright, so right away you guys are gonna see that basically a lot of collision in this game is kind of a suggestion. Not really not really something that can easily hold you back. So we can just do a mini jump that you do by standing still, holding walk, and then pressing jump with a directional key. And we had to walk all the way across that alleyway to get the end level trigger, and then...
Yeah, so basically what you saw me doing there is we went to a deleted training area that the developers have left in the game as a leftover, and this deleted area also has the end trigger there, so we just went there. And now we're in this apartment here, and we've skipped a bunch of stuff by simply clipping inside the elevator. So, like Dragon said, a collision in this game is just an assumption, and we're gonna go continue.
Now we're gonna do a nice little setup and basically do kind of a fall damage cancel. While you're in the animation of doing a commando crawl, the game doesn't consider you in a falling state, so you can just fall really long distances without taking damage. And of course, the way he clipped out of bounds was the help with the collision that was behind him. Because there was collision behind him, the initial animation of the crawl made the game push Lara forward. Because
Exactly.
Otherwise, if there's no collision behind you, the game will push you backwards, obviously, if you're in front of a wall.
Yeah, but as long as there's an object right behind you, then the game just pushes you through the wall, and we just abuse that. The main reason why we had to go down there is to get an upgrade. You saw me pushing this box, and Lara said, I feel stronger now. This is kind of like the leveling system in this game. So there are certain events that trigger Lara to become stronger and give her new abilities, and we urgently need to acquire that ability, because otherwise our jump would be too low and we wouldn't be able to progress in a later level. But
yeah, so because we actually skip some levels in Paris, when we eventually get to the Louvre, we wouldn't be able to progress because our path is blocked by lasers, and if we activate them, then we have to just basically redo the room. So it's basically like a soft lock if you get to that point without having the necessary upgrades.
exactly, yeah. We can point it out later when we get to the point, actually. For now, we have a conversation, our very first NPC conversation. And maybe, Reese, would you like to explain this one in detail?
So what's happening here is our objective is to obtain Werner's notebook, who was our mentor. And we have this conversation in which we have to choose some options that we can speak to this woman. And we have some rude options and some nice options, if you will. And this is just explaining the story a little bit of how the monstrum is going around killing people, and it basically tells us what's happening, the story, and what we have to do is to get the notebook, which she has, and that will lead us on to the next part of the game, and it explains in more detail what's been happening. But in order to get that, we have to choose most of the nice options in order for her to give us the notebook. Alternatively, if we are too rude to her, which I think is more than 2 rude options, she will not give us the notebook, in which we need to go and find the notebook in this room.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is be very nice up until the second to last option, which is the rude option because it's faster, and then she will give us the notebook.
Yeah, so we did acquire the notebook, so everything went out. Yeah, like Reese said, otherwise we would have to search for that notebook, which is in the kitchen somewhere hidden, and that obviously loses us a few seconds.
Yeah, it's always in the same spot, but it's still slower because obviously if you get the right choices, she just gives it to you right away.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Hey folks, just wondering, do we have time for a couple donations?
Yes.
Let us just explain this one clip here, and then we're ready to go for it.
Oh, I thought we would. Okay, yep.
Because
go for it then.
this is actually a huge skip here. So normally we were supposed to solve a bunch of puzzles in Paris, but this is actually the area which we would come to after all the events have happened. But we can actually do a stealth clip and get out of bounds and get behind to this area, which basically is almost at the very end of this area here. Right, and now we would be able for donations. Sorry for interrupting there.
You're good. So if that is fine by me to go now, well, first off, we've got a €5 donation from Catalina, saying good luck and have fun, K, Dragon, and Tech. So first off, thank you so much for your €5 donation. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Kat.
we've got a second donation from Mud366, who, for those of you who were here before, was the previous host, and it is a €46 donation, with a comment saying, Mr. Tiger likes to die. I like to do stupid per-death donations, so here we've got €2 per death that Mr. Tiger managed during his run. Thanks for that, I guess. Money goes towards naming the rival in Pokemon Red and Blue Mr. Tiger, since he's my world's rival, Kappa. Thank you so much, and yes, I approve of that. And that also means we've now raised more than €100 total.
Woo!
So congratulations, everyone.
Poggy.
So, returning back a little bit to that skip that Kayumon was explaining, it's called a stealth glitch or stealth bug, if you will, and it's actually, I consider it a major glitch personally, which is part of the reason why this category isn't just called no major glitches, and also partly because it's a stupid tradition, I guess, to call these categories that.
It's
And
true.
what it allows you to do is, if there are like two walls that are right next to each other, and you use Lara's stealth ability, and you get just the right angle and just the right position, and then you press action, which would normally just make Lara hug the closest wall as a sort of a stealth option. In that case, it will make her hug the next wall, which makes you clip through the wall that's right in front of you, and that's what happened there as well. We will see this a few more times. in the
Yeah,
run.
it's a common technique used in a speedrun. Also, what you see us doing here, we're doing a little bit of preparations here because our main goal is not really to do this level normally, but we're actually preparing a little bit of stuff in order to get out of bounds, because that's the only reason what we want to do here. So what we're gonna do now is the technique that Dragon has described earlier already, where we lay down on the floor and the object behind us pushes us through the wall. Let's see if I can recover with this.
That was actually very nice from Kai, because normally when you very nice save. Normally, even if you have something directly behind you, if it's a bigger collision, the game will not let you enter the crawl state because the game detects that there's a wall behind you. But if it's not entirely behind you, just partially, then the game lets you crawl, and that's what makes that's what allows this.
Sorry, I was just concentrating because there were a couple of interesting stuff. So basically, what we did there was out of bounds. We can actually swim around because I'm not really sure how to explain it, but when you are not in a room anymore, but you were still in the water actually extends upwards, and that way you're able to reach a little bit more height. And what we just did there was we went behind a waterfall that we're usually or normally supposed to solve or get behind, turn off first, and then we would be able to get there. We just swam behind that by going out of bounds, and yeah, now we're basically in the Louvre already.
Yep, so the reason why you can swim like that out of bounds is because the game only checks if you exit the water vertically. It doesn't check if you exit out of the water sideways, I guess. So when you leave the water from the side, the game doesn't recognize that you actually left the water, so you're still in a swimming state. So you can just basically fly like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to be careful because your breath meter is still going down.
What's actually funny, Reese has a story to tell about that. Yes, yesterday, we were doing this level, and Reese, do you want to say it or tell about it?
So when Kai clipped out of bounds, you saw him swim behind the waterfall to the door. Now, because we are technically out of bounds at this point, what we tried to do was swim directly to the level end trigger, which is very hard to do since we don't really know where it is. We only have knowledge from playing the game glitchless or casually. So what we tried to do is, instead of swimming behind the waterfall, just swim directly to the end of the level. And it took a very long time to do because there are so many things that can go wrong. For example, getting lost or clipping back inbounds, since there is still collision there, and once you clip inbounds, you kinda cannot get back out of bounds. And so we spent, I don't know how long it was, like 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah, I think like 2 hours.
Last night, just trying to find anything we can, any references to look at to try and find the level end trigger just by swimming there. And we actually found it, which was a big pog.
So, just a news thread found the day before the marathon. Unfortunately, I'm not comfortable at all with it yet, so that I could use it. But yeah, it's still a pretty nice find.
I tried practicing it this morning, and
yeah,
I could not replicate it.
Yep. So also, by the way, you're seeing more examples of the stealth bug. And right there, Kayumon went up to a trapdoor, which you need to go there to activate the level end trigger, the second level end trigger for the dig site. Because normally, whenever you leave the dig site, you would leave it after completing a puzzle, and that leads you to like around 6 more levels, but we don't want to do that, so we just activated the second level end trigger and lets us come back here.
Yeah, so we actually, this little stealth clip that we did there in the archaeological dig skipped a bunch. This is like a really huge skip because we, like Dragon said, literally just skipped 6 levels, so it's really a lot. Also, sometimes when we're doing the stealth clip, you will see that there are no textures around us. That is simply because the room is not loaded, and therefore we have to blindly find our path through these areas. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult to maneuver through these areas, but at some point you just know them all by heart, and then, yeah, as long as you know where to go, it's actually pretty doable. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna kick this door, and this is gonna give us a leg upgrade that we've missed in the last chapter. And this now allows us to sprint as well, which now becomes the fastest movement option for us.
Yeah, so normally you're supposed to pick up the sprint upgrade in the last level, but because we skipped it, this upgrade gave it to us. Because the way upgrades work in this game is, as long as you pick up, like for example, upgrade number 3, even though you haven't picked up upgrade number 2, the game will still give it to you because it just overwrites it every time.
Yeah, exactly. So this is also the reason why we all of a sudden got the sprint upgrade, even though we're not even in the area where... Thank you, Jack. Even though we weren't even in the area or in the spot where we were supposed to acquire it. Also, right here, this is basically the boss fight of this level. So what we just did there first is we went out of bounds and then jumped to this area here. And basically we now have to defeat this... what is this guy even called? Is it the cleaner? Yeah, the cleaner. And yeah, we just have to shoot him a bunch of times. It's actually a pretty easy boss, but you do need to be careful with your health.
And the reason why it takes so long, by the way, is because normally you're supposed to fight him in 3 different rooms. But because we skipped those areas, all we have to do is come here and just damage him enough.
Oops. Don't mind me.
Very interesting.
Very nice.
Yeah, maybe, Reese, I think this setup came from you, or no? Maybe you could... I'm screwing this up right now.
Yes, I use this in my PB.
So, basically, this is another example of a weak spot in this game. When you do a swan dive into this pit right here, you can actually just fall through the floor, and that way we've skipped a bunch of stuff there, because you're normally supposed to open this hatch with a hammer that you would acquire from an enemy. And in order to skip this enemy, we can just do this one trick there, fall through the ground, and we're down here already. Right.
Yep, as Picastrof is saying in the chat, hatches are only a suggestion.
It's true.
Yeah, it's one of many thin thin collisions in the game, and thin collisions can be bypassed like that. Same way you just saw Kayumon backflipping through the floor, which is extremely normal. This is what's supposed to happen in this level.
Ah, sad. Didn't got the running here on the invisible stairs. And there's a faster method you can get up here, but I failed it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not really that big of a time save anyway. So what you can do is, when you do a running jump on the stairs, but it has to be specifically these spiral staircases, which there are only 3 of in the game, I believe, or maybe 4. While you're in the air, after you did a running jump, you hold left, and if you land on a correct spot, there's no really easy way to tell what a correct spot is. It just kind of happens sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Lara will keep her normal running animation on the stairs as opposed to the slow jogging that you get on stairs. And very nice Ludwig soft block there. Getting the
Of
optimal
course.
RNG.
It had to happen in
I'm
a
kidding, of course,
marathon.
that loses a lot of time.
Have you changed your mind about the Strahov
Please
code?
work.
Yes, I
Oh,
give you another chance.
this guy,
But I
he,
want to stop the
Ludwig
events
sometimes,
in Paris
like
and
you saw
whatever
there,
happens here.
the conversation is not going
This
forward,
passcode will get you
and
into
it's
the
just getting
warehouse
stuck
area.
there.
It's only a
And
low-level
the only
pass.
way
The
to get
key
out
will
of
be
that, sadly,
inside
is
the
by
complex.
killing the
I can
game.
take it from
So
there.
you have to
Have you
alt
tried
tap
to
out
stop
of it,
yourself?
kill it, and
Me?
restart the
No,
game.
the place
It's
gives me the
really
creeps.
stupid. It's a
Workers have gone
soft lock that,
missing and all
yeah,
kinds of
can happen, and had to happen in a marathon, of
God
course.
knows. I'd give
But
my
it's
innards
fine.
to find out. But
At
it's
least
way too
we
costly
arrived
for
in
me.
Strahov
If you
finally,
uncover
which is
anything, give me first
one of the
shot,
most famous
huh?
locations in
Sure
this
thing.
game.
Let's talk in the car.
The Strahov isn't far.
Right, so let me just skip this
And
cutscene.
just like Ludwig said, the Strahov isn't far.
Absolutely. So
You
we're
only have to crash the game once to actually get there.
It's a hard prize. Okay, this thread here is from Lucas. Hopefully I can pull it. I failed it. Oh no. I wanted to skip this cutscene, but I failed. It's fine.
That's okay, it's a bit of a time loss, but
Yeah, I'm kind of trying a setup here that I was seeing from another runner, old Lucas, and
yep, he's actually in the chat right now.
oh, hello Lucas. Thank you for finding this setup here. I am just a little bit rusty, or not rusty, but you know, I need to.
I guess you're not used to the setup, maybe?
Maybe. Ah, there we go. There we have it. We're good.
Yeah, so this is one of the more infamous stealth bugs in the game. It's actually extremely precise and
Yeah.
it's very unorthodox. It does not work like your usual stealth bugs do. You have to aim at a very, you have to be at a very peculiar angle to pull it off. And the position, of course, also has to be precise.
Right. Okay, so that actually allowed us to do a little shortcut here, because this is now the area that we wanted to approach. And yeah, it actually saves a little bit of time if you can get the stealth clip the first time and, you know, skip the cutscene, of course.
Yeah, it skips some climbing, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go a little bit deeper into the Strahov. And here we're gonna approach a door, which hopefully is not going to irritate us too much. Should be fine.
Very nice stealth bug.
Thank you.
That is also one of the more difficult ones, I would say.
Yeah. That's-
Every time you think you understand the angle for this, you say, ah, this is easy, let me just demonstrate it, and then it just
It doesn't work, yeah. Also, yeah, right, what we did there is if you jump at a very certain angle into this vent, you can actually clip through here, saving us a few more seconds there. What we're gonna do now is skip this
Yep,
cutscene.
and this, along with some of the stealth bugs you've seen in the run, not all of them, but some of them, used to be a very old strat for any percent, actually, until stuff like the trigger bug was discovered.
Yeah. Okay. I just clipped through this.
Yep, that railing
Yeah.
does not exist.
Holy! Okay, that was unexpected.
Yeah, so I guess this is a good time to mention that guards armed with machine guns do random damage to you in this game. They
Yeah.
could their damage can range anywhere from like shooting you for like 10 seconds straight and you barely taking damage to basically one-shotting you. And it can be kind of annoying.
Yeah, basically just like we just saw, he randomly took all of our health. It's actually quite important that we have a little bit of health left here, because coming up is a place where a bunch of mines are there, and if you don't want to get rid of them the normal way, we have to get through them, so it requires us to take a little bit of damage here.
Yep, and we should see a little bit of a planned sequence from Kayumon to get over these lasers safely, because these lasers actually one-hit kill you
Yeah.
as soon as you touch them, and it's one of the more annoying ways to die in this game, because normally if you die from, like, let's say fall damage, you can just immediately press the quick load button and you can reload to the last save you made. But for some reason, when you die to these lasers, or whenever you die while swimming, for example, you have to watch the whole death animation until you can reload again, which in some cases takes like 10 seconds.
And yes, first try. That was
Very
another
nice.
example of a pretty tricky stealth clip. I think the setup that I just did was found by Cat, who should also be in
Yes,
chat.
I believe it was found by Cat.
Yeah, so a really cool stuff. What we used to do there was that we had to talk to Müller, the character that was just standing in that area there, and we can skip him with the Alt F4 technique. Not sure if we've explained that, we might have to come back to that, but you can skip the cutscene basically in short. And yeah, that would we would still have to get to another place, pull a lever, and that way we could open this door. That way we can skip all of that and just go straight through the door to our destination here, so it's really, really useful.
Also, a minor thing there, you saw him basically side flipping onto a slope and then just
Oh, yeah.
doing another side
True.
flip out of it. That can only be done in this version of the game. If you're playing a more updated version, it's actually fixed and you will immediately slide down from the slope.
Yeah, exactly.
And getting back to the Alt F4, so whenever you press Alt F4 in this game, it doesn't immediately quit. It brings up a little menu that says, "Are you sure you want to exit the game?" And if you press yes, it would normally lead you to the title screen.
But if you
But
press
this
no.
can be used to bypass fade outs, basically. So whenever a cutscene would trigger or any kind of loading screen, you can literally cancel the cutscene or dialogue or loading screen by just doing the Alt F4 and then pressing no, of course, on the menu. You don't want to do this everywhere though, because as I said, it also cancels some loading screens, which would sometimes make it so that the next room doesn't load. And very nice tilt from Kayumon. This is a semi-recent trick, actually, discovered by Plastic Rainbow, I believe.
I'm not sure, but
So
it could be.
basically the gist of this is whenever you are swimming towards the surface of water, right before you hit the surface, if you press roll, then Lara will enter this glitched state, and her angle at which you stop basically depends on how well you time the roll, or like how late you time it. The later you time it, the better it is, essentially, because it will bring you up faster.
Exactly. And
So if you time it like really early, I believe, then you go up very, very slowly. So you might as well just reload at that point and try again.
okay, I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3. There we go. Really nice.
Nice. You want this. You want to get this stealth bug specifically very early because if you don't, then the guard that he ran past catches up to you, and then
He kills you. Or
yeah.
there's a high chance that he kills you, better
And even
said.
if he doesn't kill you, it's still a big annoyance because anytime you get shot in this game, you kind of get stunned or get like you get interrupted basically in whatever you're doing.
Right, and so now we're actually playing as a different character for the first time. This is Curtis, and he controls a little bit different than Lara, but he's actually very, very broken, which you will be able to see in the next coming up area. The broken technique that he does is this one here. So, would you guys like to explain this?
Yeah, so basically Curtis has got some moves. He's incredibly overpowered when it comes to crouching.
Yeah.
So in the beginning we mentioned that crouch saving is banned in this category. Well, in order to clip through walls and doors with Lara, you normally need to run into the wall, crouch down, and after you press forward, you need to save and load at a very specific time in order to get enough momentum to go through the collision. But as Curtis, you can actually just run into the wall, crouch, and hold forward, and you can clip through thin walls and thin doors without having to do anything extra, really.
The game just crashed randomly. Hopefully
Very nice.
my last save was not too far away. Man, the game is really not treating me nicely today. It's
Yeah,
fine.
AOD is really showing off what people love about it, I guess.
Oh no, I didn't just do this. I have not saved the whole time?
It's okay, it's not really that far.
Yeah, it's not that far. It's just a slight change.
Luckily, these levels with Curtis are pretty short because of this crouch bug you can do. It lets you bypass probably more sections than you would think. Because normally there are some locked doors and some stuff you need to solve because in the story there's basically a monster on the loose and you're trying to kind of track him and also
Spoilers.
yeah, and also turn the power back on because Lara, in her clumsiness, just turned it off without thinking.
Would now be a good time for a quick donation.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Alright, thank you. We've got a 30 euros donation from Anonymous without a comment. So first off, thank you so much for your 30 euros donation. It is really appreciated. And I can see that it went towards the Resident Evil incentive, specifically for saving the team members, and it looks like it has been met. So congratulations on getting this incentive met. This run will be in basically just a couple hours, so definitely stick around for that. So yeah, thanks again for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Alright, so in this section, actually, there's a very precise stealth bug you could do, but
Yeah.
sadly, Curtis, because he controls it a little bit differently than Lara, it's very, very difficult to make minor adjustments in your movement, which means that setups are going to be really difficult to do and very painful.
Yeah.
And it's so precise to time, and you also do it a little bit differently than you would with Lara, that it's not really worth to go for, especially not in a marathon run.
Stay hydrated.
And right there, you saw him basically crouch walking on a invisible collision that was actually supposed to be a soldier's body, I believe.
Yeah.
Because normally there would be a dead body, but we just you saw Kayumon Alt F4 the cutscene, which, like I said earlier, means that it cancels some some loads, and so the texture for the body didn't load.
Yeah, exactly.
And very nice risky strat from Kayumon, actually. That jump can lose you a lot of time if you fail it, because, as I said earlier, if you die in water, you have to watch the whole death animation before you can reload. And going around that way, I believe, only saves like 1 or 2 seconds. But it looks cooler than the normal way, so
Oh
that's
yeah,
something.
I definitely wanted to show it off. Also, we now approached our very beloved boss fight here, the Proto. So essentially, should I explain this, or would one of you guys would like to do it? How this
I
boss
would just
fight
like to mention really quickly that I guess we could kind of consider him the final boss, because in any percent, the Carvier dialogue and the Proto fight are the only basically slow and kind of boring parts that you can't skip, where you don't really do a whole lot. So I guess Tech can take it away and explain how the boss fight works.
Yeah.
So this boss fight, we pretty much AFK almost 90% of the fight, because we are waiting for the Proto to awaken from its stun/death state. And so what's happening is there are a total of, I like to say it's 3 cycles of 6 phases. So there is, so every time the Proto runs up to the machine, which you kind of saw, that is the end of a phase, and you have to wait for the Proto to spawn from 3 locations, which can either be from the machine it went up, or from 2 locations at either end of the bridge above the roof. The spawns from the bridge above the roof are very slow, which is not what we want, and the one in front of the machine is the fastest. So what we do is when we see the Proto climb down, we have some very intense button mashing with our gun to shoot the Proto, and then we watch it die. But unfortunately, it has 9 lives apparently.
Yeah.
So
it lies there, and we just have to wait until it wakes back up, and then we shoot it another few times, and that's basically the boss fight. It's also not really hard to dodge him. Also, yeah, we got the bridge spawn again.
Yep, and a very nice mechanic I would just like to mention is earlier we said that the guards with machine guns do random damage to you. Well, as it turns out, you actually do random damage as well, but for you it's not really that extremely random. I think it can be 3 different damage numbers, I heard.
I don't know about that.
Me neither.
Well, either way, you can deal like basically, I mean, I'm not gonna say numbers because it doesn't matter, we can't really see the health bar of enemies, but your damage is kind of random, and based on how much damage you deal, you can get a fast cycle on the Proto or not.
Let's see if we can pull off this strat here. We can actually abuse this railing here, but I think my position is a little bit wrong for that. So let me just...
It's got very janky collisions, so this strat is actually pretty hard.
Yeah.
In Glitchless, we get an extra leg upgrade, so we can just skip it in a much easier way, but here you have to do this slow and hard
It's not gonna work.
strat.
You also
Very
have
nice.
to land
Oh.
the jump in a very specific way, because otherwise this machine gun that you see down below there is just gonna kill you, and there's no way to prevent that. So we urgently need to, you know, get a very specific fast grab in order to survive this in the first place.
Yeah. Alternatively, you can also just simply by chance get those turrets down there to be bugged out.
Yeah.
And the way you can tell that they're bugged out is their heads, I guess, kind of face the opposite way, or like upwards a little bit.
Yeah.
And whenever that occurs, you can just do whatever you want because they won't hit you. They will still shoot, but they will not hit you.
Yeah. So essentially they just bug out and you're free to go there. So no worries of actually dying, which is pretty useful. Right. Coming up
And
is...
right here, yep, one
Yeah.
of my favorite strats.
Mine too. So, first of all, we're gonna do the setup here. And we're gonna jump into the water in a very specific way so that there's actually a kind of a stream. You can see that Lara's being pulled by the water. And if we now touch the water, all sorts of physics are ignored. We can go through walls, and if we stay like that, the game is just gonna pull us forward all the time here. But at a very specific spot I want to stop. And then... hopefully... Okay, we got it. So now we're out of bounds.
If you save and load at a kind of a specific spot there, basically out of bounds, then not only will it cancel the, I guess, kind of floaty state you're in, but it will also kind of reset your momentum, because normally sorry, I was just scared by a Discord sound. So normally, whenever you exit that state manually by letting go of the ladder that you're not really grabbing anymore, but the game still thinks that you're on the ladder, if you let go of it by pressing action and you fall down, you're gonna fall back in bounds because there's a added momentum through your fall. But if you quick save and quick load, that momentum just does not occur for some reason, and that lets you stay out of bounds.
Right, and so as a result of that, since we were able to stay out of bounds, we could then just swim to the level end. You also see that Lara has changed her clothes in the meantime. This is because we've skipped an event that we were supposed to do in the other area. So now Lara wears different clothes, and the first one we're gonna do here, so you might have guessed it, we're gonna go to a secret place, and I'm gonna do a setup here. Let's see if it works. Not yet.
This is a bit of a tricky setup. Also found by Plastic Rainbow.
Yeah.
And this is actually a very big skip, because in this category, before this was found, we actually had to complete this level somewhat normally. And what that would do is we would have to go to the next level, where we have another exciting boss fight with Curtis
Yeah.
that everybody loves. And luckily this strat lets you skip it, because you don't just go to the end level trigger for this level, you actually go to the very end of the boss fight, which has two phases, and you can activate the end trigger for both phases, but obviously we want the end trigger for the final phase, so we can just simply move on to this level. And also we can say goodbye to Curtis, because we won't be seeing him anymore.
Sadly, no. What we didn't see is that he actually died during the cutscene. We've just skipped that cutscene. But yeah, the game is still going on, because we have some stuff to do in this domain. What you just saw me do there was collecting a leg upgrade, and now we're able to do sprint jumps. So when we're sprinting, we can now jump, and this is like a really high and far jump, which helps us out a lot for the end of the game.
Yep. We also, I mean, we don't really get to play around with it too much, because sadly we only get it in this level, which is actually the second to last level of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually has some very interesting mechanics and collision, let's just say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Also,
you can clip through certain thin collisions with it.
oh yeah, I've skipped the technique or the trick in question, because I don't think it's viable to do in a marathon, but...
Yeah, no, absolutely not. But there's also, I think, some other stuff that can be done with it, but obviously not something that we would do in a run.
Yeah. Also, what we did there was we skipped pretty much the final room of the game, which is a puzzle in Eckhart's lab. So normally you're supposed to collect a bunch of stuff there and then open this gate, but with the technique that we have with the stealth clip, we're actually able to clip through that and get to the final boss area early.
Yeah, luckily Eckhart was nice enough to have that gate built in a way that we can just bypass it.
Exactly. And what we're gonna do now, this boss fight is a little bit hard to explain, so basically, this boss fight has 3 phases, and in each of these phases he's gonna shoot you with some sort of thing. For here he's gonna shoot us with these light balls, and there's a very easy way to dodge them actually that we have not yet revealed. I'm trying to do it the casual way, because Reese knows why.
Style points.
Yeah. So normally there's a very cheap technique of finishing off this boss fight, but just to make it a little bit more exciting for the first phase, I try to, just do it the death intended way, or at least what we think is the death intended way. And at the end of all of these phases, what he's gonna do is he's gonna spawn 3 clones, then he's gonna merge these 3 clones together, and he will then be standing in the middle of this area, and this is the only part of this fight where we can actually damage him. But sadly the rest of this fight is just waiting, so really it's a little bit unexciting.
Yep, so you can just basically tell that the devs really didn't have time to finish basically anything here at this point.
Yeah. Right, and now we're gonna show off the cheap method.
And yeah, for some reason, shooting or punching / kicking him is the equivalent of stabbing him in the cutscene.
Yeah.
So basically, in the story, you have these 3 shards that you have to stab him with, but we don't really care about that because all we need to do is shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Technically, we didn't even collect these staffs, so we wouldn't even have them in the first place. But it doesn't matter. We still reached him.
Yep.
And yeah, this is just an example how rushed this game was. So basically, you can just crouch down here all the time and watch him do his stuff. There's no way that he's gonna hit you. So it's a little bit sad, but yeah, this is a pretty easy way to finish the final boss fight.
Yep, and also fun fact, you can also do a similar technique against another enemy that will be coming up after Eckhart, actually. But it is not speedrun viable because it's extremely slow. But it is an interesting thing you can do. So basically, if you commando crawl on the ground, then that enemy's projectiles won't hit you.
Oh wait, okay. I now just got what you mean. I didn't even know about that, I think. That's new to me as well.
Yeah, that is actually a thing, but obviously we don't use it because it's extremely slow to crawl around as opposed to sprinting.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so, final phase coming up.
Yep, and then it's not going to be time yet because Kayumon is still going to need to climb all the way up. The level end trigger for this level and also the entire game is at the top of this room, which in any percent you can actually reach without doing this fight at all, but you do it by moon jumping, which we, of course, do not allow in this category.
Yeah, like we've mentioned in the beginning, it's one of the banned techniques. Otherwise, we could just finish off this fight in like a few seconds.
Yeah, what you would normally do in any percent is you run into the middle of the arena, and then you either skip the cutscene normally or you Alt F4 out of the fade out, and then you just do a sort of long moon jump.
Yeah.
And then just reach the very top of the room where you get the end trigger, and that's it.
Yeah. It's
here we're gonna have to climb up legit.
Yeah, we have to do that, unfortunately. It's otherwise with the moon jumps it would be quite a long sequence as well that you would have to do, because the level, the game end trigger is like all the way up there, and that's what you have to reach, basically.
Yeah, it's fairly difficult.
Yeah. Okay, final phase coming up. We're just gonna wait here. I always like to stand in this spot here because it's more or less safe. And then you just have to wait till his attack finishes, and then you can just, you know, finish him off or run towards him to attack him.
Yep. So another fun fact is we have actually experimented with ways of skipping this fight in this category as well, but we cannot entirely do it as of now, because the only way where we could clip out of bounds, a very nice RNG shot there.
Yeah.
The only way we could clip out of bounds is in the room that Kayumon skipped earlier,
Yeah.
the puzzle room, where you would have to actually do the puzzle because there's some sort of a water that's kind of empowered by some electric sorcery that you have to disable in order to swim in it and get the last parry-up shard to fight Eckhart. But if you disable it, you can swim in it, and it also kind of extends out of bounds. But we cannot clip out of bounds.
Just
as of
a
now.
quick heads up, time is
Completely
coming
there.
up very, very soon. Okay, maybe not if we get keep on getting shot here, but just get ready for time.
Yep, so basically when the screen fades out, then that's gonna be time.
And time!
Very nice, GG.
Woo! Oh no, I skipped the final cutscene.
Underestimate as well, by the way.
But just very slightly, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know,
Okay, we have
it was
to.
still a,
We
it
do
was
need
still
to
a very
repeat
solid
this.
run.
I'm sorry for that. We do want to watch this cutscene. I just like to watch this cutscene just as a sort of a beginning, because this version doesn't have credits. The PS2 version does, but the PC version doesn't. So just as a sort of an ending, I guess. It's just nice to watch this. It's also really loud.
Yeah, the FMVs tend to be louder than the game itself.
Yeah, but this is the ending of The Angel of Darkness. We finished it under an hour, under 50 minutes. So, yeah. And like we said, it doesn't require the actual any percent category, which completely destroys this game. We still have a bunch of other tricks which this category shows off.
Also, oh no, where's Curtis's body? Could he have survived?
Yeah.
Find out in the sequel. Oh, sorry.
The sequel is gonna come out beyond time and space. Ah, very, very atmospheric.
Yep. She just walks off and that's it.
Yep. And with that, the game puts you back to the title screen, and you can start a new game. Right. So, yeah, this was pretty much the end of the run. Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much, guys, for the GGs and also for watching. Reese, Dragon, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Are there any
Thank you for having us here.
Any final words from your side? Anything you wanted to say before?
Shout outs to the Tomb Raider community. We also have a Discord if you are interested in speedrunning any Tomb Raider game. The Discord features a channel for every Tomb Raider game, actually.
Oh yeah.
With people that are ready to help you if you have any questions. So feel free to join.
Yeah.
You can find it in any speedrun.com page for Tomb Raider games.
Right. I'll bring you to the same server.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's it from me.
Well, in that case, thank you so much for the run. I think really this was the basic definition of the joke. Was or just a suggestion for speedruns. This whole run, I was just floored by that. So congratulations on it. So I really hope everyone in here enjoyed this great run. But we are far from done with SpeedCon Online 2020, because up next we've got KO the Kangaroo 3 All Artifacts by Rythin. So definitely get ready for this just after a short intermission. So thank you everyone, and we'll be seeing you very soon. Cheers!
Thank you so much.